8 people in the world are richer than half the world. 8. You know how you got to be to know that? 8 people. That means half the world, 5 billion people can put their checks together and not be as rich as these 8. And these motherfuckers going to space and buying
We all welcome you on this very special night, honoring your husband. Hello and welcome to the First Lady of Music, Beyonce.
She's been quiet on a lot of major issues that many people in the black community care about. But when news about music executive Clive Davis started spreading online, she quickly had a message ready, thanking him for his longtime support of talent and creativity. That caught plenty of attention. Some people also pointed out that another music producer with connections to her had recently been remembered by fans, yet they didn't notice a public message from her about that. Because of that, online discussions started comparing who receives public recognition and who doesn't. From there, some critics began arguing that powerful people in the entertainment industry often look out for one another. They connected it to comments Katt Williams has made about influence and power, saying those relationships matter more than anything else. That viewpoint has fueled a lot of debate online, with many people sharing their own opinions. And now DL Hughley is making a similar point, telling people to stop putting black billionaires on a pedestal. His message is that, in his view, huge wealth and influence can create distance from the everyday struggles many people face, no matter what someone's background is. That idea has definitely sparked a lot of conversation. Then the discussion shifts to the bigger picture. Some critics argue that celebrities like Beyonce and Jay-Z are the public faces of the entertainment business, while the real decision makers work behind the scenes. That's an opinion that's been shared by some commentators, who believe the industry's biggest moves are driven by powerful people most audiences never see. From that perspective, these critics say reaching billionaire status isn't just about talent or hard work alone. They argue that success at that level also depends on business opportunities, connections, and timing. Beyoncé's talent and work ethic are widely recognized, but debates about where she ranks among the greatest singers continue to divide fans and critics alike. The same argument gets made about Jay-Z. Some critics claim his success isn't only about his music or business skills. They believe the entertainment industry has a power structure where certain influential figures have more control than the artists the public sees. According to that viewpoint, even major stars like Beyonce and Jay-Z aren't at the very top, and some people have argued that Clive Davis held a different level of influence within the industry.
This was the ritual to get you ready. I bet he's the new Clive.
Sloan Bella also shared her own thoughts around this idea around the time Diddy was facing legal issues, describing what she believed was a larger industry hierarchy. Kanye West has also spoken publicly about similar themes over the years, saying he believed powerful forces influenced the entertainment business. His comments generated widespread debate and drew significant public attention. He argued that Beyonce and Jay-Z are part of a group of extremely successful celebrities who, in his opinion, face pressure from powerful people behind the scenes. According to his perspective, public figures can become vulnerable if influential individuals have information that could damage their careers, making them feel they have to be careful about the choices they make. That's a claim that has sparked plenty of debate. From that viewpoint, some commentators say it's easier to understand why Beyonce publicly honored Clive Davis and shared a tribute after news of his passing. Those same critics have also questioned why she didn't make a public statement about the legal controversy involving Diddy. They point out that she has often spoken about empowering women, leading some people online to wonder why she stayed silent. Others have also noted that she and many other celebrities attended high-profile industry events over the years where Diddy was present, adding even more discussion to the situation. Diddy once described Jay-Z as someone he trusted for advice during difficult moments, and that comment led to even more discussion about how closely connected some of the biggest names in entertainment are. For many people online, those relationships have become a major talking point.
They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce, but they can't control me.
Some commentators point to figures like Beyonce, Jay-Z, Clive Davis, and Diddy as examples of how influential circles in the music business often overlap. They argue that many of these high-profile names have worked together or crossed paths throughout their careers, although people draw very different conclusions from those connections. After news about Clive Davis began circulating online, some social media users also started revisiting discussions about Whitney Houston and her legacy. Looking back, Beyonce did publicly honor Whitney after her passing, sharing that Whitney had been one of her biggest inspirations and someone she admired throughout her career. That tribute received widespread attention from fans. Beyonce also called Whitney Houston "our queen" and said she opened doors while creating a blueprint for so many artists who followed. Her words made it clear how much respect and admiration she had for Whitney's impact on music and the industry. Some people later noticed that neither Beyonce nor Jay-Z attended the Grammy Awards the year Whitney Houston was remembered, even though both had nominations. Beyonce was nominated for Best Rap or Song Collaboration for Party and Best Music Video for I Am World Tour, while Jay-Z received a nomination and won Best Rap Song with Niggas in Paris with Kanye West. Their absence quickly became a topic of discussion online. There were also social media posts suggesting the couple skipped the event as part of a boycott. However, that explanation doesn't line up with the fact that they attended the Grammy Awards the following year.
People that succeed are the exception and not the rule. And what they say to black people who succeed is to everybody else, look at them, you can do it too. The rule generally is most people don't succeed because there's too many things that are leveled against you. What they do is take the ones that do succeed and make people that didn't feel bad, because you should have been able to do this exceptional thing that all everybody wants is to be regular and have a decent life.
Because of that, many fans have continued to wonder why they missed that particular ceremony, while no widely accepted explanation has settled the debate. Some people online have shared theories about why Beyonce and Jay-Z were absent from that Grammy ceremony, but there isn't any public evidence explaining their decision. Their connections with well-known figures in the music industry have led to plenty of speculation, yet those conversations remain opinions rather than established facts. The unanswered questions have kept fans talking for years. A few years later, Clive Davis publicly praised Beyonce, calling her the first lady of music during his annual pre-Grammy event. Beyonce attended to support Jay-Z as he received the Grammy Salute to Industry Icons Award, and Clive made a point of recognizing her before presenting Jay-Z with the honor. That moment was widely covered and highlighted the respect they showed each other within the industry. After news of Clive Davis's passing, Beyonce quickly shared a heartfelt tribute, thanking him for his support of artists and his influence on the music industry. That response caught the attention of many fans, especially since Clive wasn't her manager or the person who launched her career. Even so, Clive had long-standing relationships with many of the biggest names in entertainment and was a well-known figure at major industry events. Because of those connections, some people have pointed to his ties with artists such as Diddy and the Carters to highlight how closely connected the music business can be. Those relationships have continued to spark discussion among fans and commentators alike. That's why some critics believe the tribute wasn't just about honoring a respected music executive. In their view, it also reflected how much influence Clive Davis had throughout the industry over several decades. Whether people agree with that interpretation or not, his name has been linked to countless major artists and career-defining moments. Supporters, however, see it very differently. They argue that Clive worked with generations of musicians, helped shape modern pop and R&B, and earned the respect of many performers across the business. From that perspective, Beyonce's message was simply a sign of appreciation for someone whose impact reached far beyond the artists he worked with directly. Still, the different reactions have raised another question. Why do certain public tributes receive so much attention while other moments pass with very little response? That's where the conversation starts shifting away from Clive himself and toward the way celebrities choose when to speak out and when they decide to stay quiet.
For years, fans have noticed that every public statement from major celebrities gets picked apart. If they speak up, people question why they said something. If they stay silent, people question that too. Because of that,
if you see black people they generally have done something exceptional. They've exceeded expectations. They have cut themselves. They have found a way to beat the odds. but they're held up as the example of the things you should be able to do when you're not. If everybody that lived in any circumstances had the ability to have a decent life, just being a regular dude, a regular, not exceptional, not unexceptional, just a regular person, I think we'd have less strife, but we don't. Because we see unexceptional white guys get to be these extraordinary things, and you're like, wow.
Every post, interview, or tribute ends up being analyzed from every possible angle. Beyonce has experienced that more than most. Over the years, she's built a reputation for keeping her personal thoughts private and rarely responding to online rumors or public controversy. Instead of addressing every headline, she usually lets her work speak for itself, which has become a signature part of her public image. That approach, however, has led some critics to ask whether staying silent is always the best choice, especially when major events dominate the news cycle. Others argue that celebrities aren't obligated to comment on every situation and should be free to decide what they want to address publicly. Those two viewpoints continue to clash, setting up the next chapter of the discussion. One example that often comes up is how carefully Beyoncé manages her public image. Unlike many celebrities who respond to every rumor or headline, she has consistently taken a much more reserved approach. Interviews are rare, personal statements are even rarer, and most updates come through official channels instead of spontaneous reactions. That strategy has made her one of the most closely watched figures in entertainment. Because of that, every public appearance carries extra weight. Whether she's attending an award show, sharing a tribute, or remaining completely silent, people often search for a deeper meaning behind those choices. Supporters see it as a disciplined way of protecting her privacy, while critics argue that the lack of direct responses leaves room for endless speculation. That difference in perspective has also shaped the way people view her relationships within the industry. Long-time collaborations, business partnerships, and appearances alongside other high-profile figures are frequently examined as if they reveal a larger story. Some see those connections as a normal part of working in the music business, while others believe they offer clues about how influence and opportunity move behind the scenes. Looking back over the years, Beyoncé's career has crossed paths with many of the biggest names in music. From award shows and charity events to industry celebrations and business ventures, she shared the spotlight with artists, executives, and producers from every corner of the entertainment world. That's hardly unusual for someone who spent decades at the top of the industry, but those connections often become the focus of online discussions.
These people want to placate you, and I say these, the ones that rule the music industry. So let's go to that dude has his Clive Davis, okay, him, David Geffen, Garth Brooks. So go all the way down the line and understand how the puppeteering works. They're taking down the enslaved group of dark-skinned people which participate in rap music. You guys got to get together and stop them from doing that. P. Diddy's definitely guilty. Diddy's guilty. Jamie Foxx, Oprah, they are guilty.
Critics sometimes point to those long-standing relationships and ask whether they help explain how the business really works behind the scenes. Supporters push back, saying that's simply what happens when someone has one of the longest and most successful careers in modern music. They argue that working with influential people doesn't automatically mean there's a hidden story behind every collaboration. Even so, one thing is hard to ignore. Every time an old interview, speech, or public appearance resurfaces, people revisit it with a completely different perspective. Comments that barely made headlines years ago are now being replayed, analyzed, and compared with more recent events, leading some viewers to wonder if those moments deserve a second look before moving on to the next piece of the story. One moment that continues to draw attention is how quickly public opinion can change. A clip or quote that once seemed ordinary can suddenly be viewed through a completely different lens after new headlines appear. Fans, commentators, and content creators often revisit older interviews, speeches, and award show moments, trying to understand them in a broader context. At the same time, it's important to remember that people often interpret those moments in very different ways. Some believe certain interactions reveal meaningful patterns, while others see nothing more than routine industry relationships between artists, executives, and collaborators. The same event can lead to completely opposite conclusions depending on who's watching. That contrast is exactly why so many past moments keep resurfacing. Instead of focusing on one isolated event, many people compare years of public appearances, professional partnerships, and statements to see whether they notice any consistent themes. Whether those observations are convincing or simply coincidences depends on the viewer, but they're often presented as part of a much larger discussion that extends well beyond a single headline.
But they get into positions of power because they fall for the bait and then they perpetrate the bait. So they're still enslaved. They're still enslaved. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a whole hierarchy. It's never just P. Diddy. He's a minion on the scale. Like, he's down here. I mean, he's brutal, but nobody spoke out till now. Why y'all not standing up for people? Because they don't want to ruin their career. Bow down, and Jay-Z and Beyonce are put in higher positions than the minions under them. Okay? These people are controlling your kids' minds. Okay, they're controlling your kids' minds.
Another reason these stories keep resurfacing is that the music industry has always seemed mysterious to a lot of people. Big career moves often happen behind closed doors. Major partnerships are announced without much explanation, and fans rarely get to see how important decisions are actually made. That lack of visibility leaves plenty of room for different interpretations.
Because of that, every endorsement, tribute, or public appearance can end up carrying more meaning than it was ever intended to. Some viewers believe these moments reflect genuine respect between longtime colleagues, while others see them as examples of how influential networks operate inside the business. The same event can support completely different narratives depending on who's telling the story. As more people revisit interviews, award speeches, and old footage, they're also comparing how different artists respond during major moments in the industry. Some are outspoken, others stay almost completely silent, and those different approaches continue to shape how fans interpret their public image. That brings the focus to another set of moments that many viewers believe deserve a closer look before drawing their own conclusions. One detail that keeps coming up is the difference between what celebrities choose to share publicly and what they keep private. In today's world, fans expect instant reactions to almost every headline. But many high-profile artists prefer to stay quiet until they feel there's something meaningful to say. That gap between public expectations and personal decisions often creates even more questions. Beyoncé has spent years maintaining that careful balance. Major announcements usually come through official channels, and she rarely explains every decision she makes. For supporters, that's simply part of how she's always handled her career. Critics, on the other hand, argue that the lack of explanation leaves people filling in the blanks with their own theories. That contrast has become a recurring theme whenever her name appears alongside major industry events. Every appearance, tribute, or public absence is weighed against past moments, with fans comparing timelines and looking for consistency. Whether those comparisons reveal anything significant or simply reflect how closely she's watched, they continue to shape the discussion as the story moves forward. Another point that often gets overlooked is how quickly online narratives can take on their own life. A single interview clip, an old photo, or a brief public statement can be shared thousands of times, with each repost adding a new interpretation. Before long, the original context can get overshadowed by the latest theory or opinion. That's why it's common to see the same moments discussed again and again from different angles. One person may view a celebrity's actions as a calculated business decision, while someone else sees nothing more than a routine part of working in the entertainment industry. The facts may stay the same, but the conclusions people draw can be completely different. Even with those different viewpoints, one thing remains consistent. Every major artist eventually reaches a point where their career becomes bigger than the music itself. Business partnerships, public appearances, award show moments, and industry relationships all become part of the conversation, making it difficult to separate the artist from the larger world they're operating in. That broader picture is what many people continue examining as more pieces of the timeline are revisited. As more people revisit Beyoncé's career, another topic that keeps coming up is how carefully she has built her brand over the years. Every album rollout, performance, and public appearance seems planned with incredible attention to detail. Supporters see that as smart career management, while critics argue that it gives very little insight into what she's actually thinking behind the scenes.
Suppress you, bro. They can't control, you know what I'm saying? They can control shot. They can control Charles Barkley, they can control LeBron James, they can control Jay-Z and Beyonce. I know you, man, but they can't control me. You see, it ain't no name, I won't name.
That level of control has made even small moments stand out. A short statement, a photo with another artist, or an appearance at a major event can become the subject of endless discussion. Some viewers believe those moments deserve close attention, while others think they're simply routine parts of being one of the world's biggest entertainers. No matter which perspective people take, there's no denying that Beyoncé's influence extends far beyond her music. Her business decisions, creative projects, and public image are constantly examined alongside the changing landscape of the entertainment industry. That's why many observers continue looking back at key moments in her career, comparing how they fit into the larger timeline before moving on to the next chapter. Another thing that stands out is how different people define influence in the entertainment world. For some, it's measured by awards, record sales, and sold-out tours. Others believe real influence comes from the relationships artists build with executives, producers, brands, and other major players behind the scenes. Those two perspectives often lead people to very different conclusions. When Beyoncé's career is discussed, both viewpoints usually come up. Her supporters point to decades of success, consistent performances, and a catalog that has shaped modern music. Critics, meanwhile, focus more on the business side of the industry, arguing that long-lasting success also depends on strong professional networks and carefully planned decisions. That broader conversation has encouraged people to revisit key moments from different stages of her career. Instead of looking at each event on its own, they're comparing interviews, acceptance speeches, collaborations, and public appearances across the years to see whether any larger patterns emerge. Those comparisons continue to frame how many viewers interpret the next moments in the timeline. Another angle people bring up is how fame changes over time. Early in an artist's career, the spotlight is usually on the music, but after years at the top, the conversation often shifts toward business moves, leadership, and the company they keep. At that point, every partnership and every public appearance starts attracting a different level of attention. In Beyoncé's case, her career has spanned decades, so there's a huge timeline for fans and commentators to look back on. Major performances, award show speeches, interviews, and collaborations are frequently revisited, with people comparing different eras to see how her public image has evolved. Some see a consistent strategy from the beginning, while others believe her approach has changed as her influence has grown. That long history also explains why older moments are constantly being rediscovered. Clips that were barely discussed when they first aired can suddenly return years later and be viewed in a completely new context. Whether those moments genuinely reveal something important or simply reflect changing public opinions, they continue to shape how people interpret the story as it unfolds.
You've been there with me through my ups and downs. Whenever I get in trouble, this is the one I call. It's my strategist right here. This is my brother.
One reason these conversations never seem to disappear is because the entertainment industry is constantly evolving. New artists rise, veteran performers reinvent themselves, and major executives come and go. Yet old interviews and public moments are always brought back into the spotlight. Fans often compare the past with the present, looking for connections that they may have missed the first time around. Beyoncé's career is a perfect example of that. Every era, from Destiny's Child to her solo projects and business ventures, has been documented in incredible detail. That gives people a massive timeline to examine, with everything from award show appearances to public statements becoming part of the discussion. Some believe those moments reveal a carefully planned career, while others simply see the natural path of one of music's biggest stars. As those older moments continue to resurface, attention also shifts to the people who were around during different stages of her career. Longtime collaborators, influential executives, producers, and fellow artists all become part of the timeline, leading many viewers to compare how those professional relationships developed over the years before the story moves into its next chapter. At the end of the day, people will continue to interpret these connections in very different ways. Some believe they're simply looking at a network of long-time professional relationships, while others think the industry's biggest names tend to protect one another when controversies arise. Those opinions continue to divide fans,
and there are plenty of different perspectives on what these public moments really mean. As for Beyoncé's tribute to Clive Davis, some people saw it as a heartfelt message honoring someone who had a major impact on the music business. Others questioned why that tribute stood out so much compared with other moments throughout the years. Like many celebrity stories, the same event can lead to completely different conclusions depending on who's looking at it. Now it's your turn. What do you think about Beyoncé's tribute to Clive Davis? Was it simply a respectful message, or do you think people are reading more into it than they should? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves keeping up with music industry stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.